All right, everybody. Welcome to the Adam Messer Show. You're listening to us here on WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And today, this is our second hour of the show. We have Marianne Ganem-Poppell and Kendra DeMoura from Good Cause Marketing. The last hour we were talking about what they're doing with helping businesses and organizations connect with nonprofits and vice versa. And Sebastian, do you mind playing a little bit for us of live music? All right, here is Sebastian Messer, everybody, and then we're gonna get into the second hour talking with Marianne and Kendra. Take it away, son. Wow, thank you, son. All right. Marianne and Kendra, you there?
Yes, we are.
All right. Welcome back, ladies. Thank you so much for being with me today. And I love the idea of what you're doing because I feel, so like we were talking a little bit right before the end of the last hour. It's kind of a fine line when you are trying to do something as far as trying to raise funds, trying to ask for donations, and then also, be on the other side when you're trying to volunteer and make donations, because if you're doing it as a business, for example, let's just say XYZ Corporation, right? They have major marketing plans, and they get tax benefits from doing that kind of thing. They have whole divisions that they just work on, like, how can we get these volunteer hours for our employees, and like some companies, they'll say we'll give you 8 hours a year, or so much time off that you can go volunteer and that kind of thing. And that's cool. That's really cool. I used to work for college, and we had volunteer hours that we could take and use for any charity that we wanted to use it for, as long as we were volunteering our time. I love that. I think it's great. When you have smaller businesses, though, they might not have those kind of resources, and they might not have those kind of options available. So you were saying, like, with the last the last hour, you're talking about how you would be able to work with some of those companies and help them kind of come up with a game plan for doing something like that. So what would be the kind of things that you could work with a company that's interested in setting something up like that for their employees?
So we would meet with a company, say a smaller company or a company with a more limited marketing budget, or at least in the sense of limited marketing budget towards nonprofit giving, to sort of assess, like you said, if they want to start a team volunteer program, how many hours can they afford to pay their team members to be out volunteering in the community rather than be at the office or on the job? Mm-hmm. Are they able to do any sort of donation that's dependent on those volunteer hours? Or like if the employee volunteers 10 hours, is there some sort of donation made at these different sort of time donation levels to match the employee's dedication? So there are those ways. It may be that a lot of times smaller businesses that we've worked with may already be giving to different nonprofits, but they may be doing so not in a very strategic way.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have a lot of personal relationships, and every time they get the ask, they either write a check or, make up a nice gift basket for an auction or something like that. But there's not really any sort of unifying strategy behind it. So maybe the causes are all very different and maybe don't relate back to what that business does or what causes are really at the center of their, or should be at the center of their giving strategy. Are sort
You
of
know
their
what?
most
That's
important
actually happened to me, where I've made donations and I really didn't ask for anything in return, and like the group or the whatever didn't even recognize it or anything like that. And it's not that I was upset about it, but it was more kind of like what you're saying. It's a give and take. It's kind of like if you're soliciting donations, the bare minimum you can do is just make a thank you.
Exactly.
And I think partnering, like I look at some of the bigger organizations, that the way that they run it, and a lot of times to me it comes down to who is the director of that, who's the director of the program, who are the people that are working with them. And the ones that I see that are very effective are the ones that they make sure that they give public recognition to their donors with, like you said last hour, with the photos, with the thank yous, the letters, the social media, the pictures and things like that. People love, like I used to do Spotted for Savannah Morning News, and people love to have their picture out in public. They love it.
They
They're like,
certainly do.
There's like a million pictures of Marianne out there with people in Savannah. They're like, let me get my picture with you, Marianne. Let me get my picture with you. Let me get my picture with you. And, so they love that. And, I think that's a great way, that, I know we keep coming back to kind of like the return on investment type stuff, but it is important because, if you're doing something and you're able to benefit that organization with your time, talent, or treasure, and that organization reciprocates by, saying, hey, this company, helped us with this. It helps everybody to grow. It helps the company to grow because then the people that, like that organization or that's their charity of choice or whatever, they're like, oh, well, I love the Ronald McDonald Charities of the Coastal Empire. XYZ company also loves Ronald McDonald, Charities of the Coastal Empire. I would like to use my, funds and buy from them, use their services or whatever, because they support a cause that I support.
Right. Well, and also you're either purchasing something you need and doing good, or going to an event and doing good.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite taglines that we use is marketing with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could spend that a couple different ways, but obviously, personally, I believe we're all here for a purpose. And so what purpose did you set your business up as, and then now what is important to you? But getting your name out there, but then doing good, again, there's some kind of purpose. There's that karma that comes back. There's so many different reasons why you do it. But I think that if it's something you're gonna need anyway, why don't you do it for a good purpose?
Well, they say you don't buy the product or the service. You buy it because you like the person that you're dealing with.
Yeah, and we always say that you do business with people, and you do business with people that you like. And there are those that don't. There are those that are strictly going to look at like the company's mission, or they just buy something because somebody else had it. But at the end of the day, it's because you like that person, or the person that you like told you about that product. And that's where, Savannah is so big on that, the networking and the people. You want to be able to know that somebody else has used the product or the person, company, whatever it may be, and had success with it, or because you just simply like them.
I remember a couple years back covering an event for Memorial Hospital with the Savannah Morning News, and there was a woman that gave a very large donation to help out with their new 5th level, and it was because they saved her husband's life. And so I think that's so important. Like, people do, identify and they connect with the folks that are there, and they're genuine and sincere. You know,
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing is sincerity, authenticity. Being responsible. I mean, those are all buzzwords we hear all the time, but they mean something. Like you have to have heart. And if your heart's not in it, it's not the right place. It's not going to matter what you do. If you market or advertise or whatever you do, people will see it, and the folks that are the ones out there doing the good things and the good works, they might not be recognized daily or whatever, or kind of like what y'all are doing. I mean, it's, when somebody says good cause marketing, like they might not understand what that means and how it can help the entire community, businesses, organizations, the people that, benefit from the organizations. It's just one of those things. It's kind of like more awareness of what is going on and how people can contribute and help.
Right.
Exactly.
So speaking of contributing and helping, like what is in Savannah here? I know we've got this pandemic and, things have had to rapidly change. What is like a big area that people can, work on now and focus on, in our community here?
Well,
What's something that y'all see?
Yeah, I think you still have to go look in your heart and look what's important to you, or that aligns with, your personal beliefs or your personal business's mission. But I think overall, and again, this is probably just some personal, some professional coming into play, but with this pandemic, I think something that is definitely getting more attention now, but still not nearly enough, is mental health. I mean, people are really struggling, and we have a pretty large military community, and I think we don't understand. If you don't walk in certain people's shoes, you don't understand. So I think being a little more open to learning and to gaining that understanding of what others are going through, trying to be an ear when you can, but looking at these nonprofits, I think Safe Shelter is a big one right now. People have been quarantined in their house, and it's a very sad reality that hopefully a lot of people don't have to deal with, but domestic violence is out there. And I think look at some of these places that are probably using all of their resources they have available, and they're not getting the donations. So look at how you can help, and in every little way. If everybody comes together and does a little something, you can make a difference. I think some people think that, the little bit I can do or the little bit I can give is not going to make a difference, but it is. And I do think socially sharing what you're doing is also going to make a difference, because you never know who sees what. And I think don't second guess yourself. Go out there and help someone. And I think, selfishly, it's going to make you feel better as well. If you're not battling any big demons or whatever it may be. So I don't know if that's, it's definitely not specific. But I do think there's so many different ways we can help a lot of different people and organizations.
What do you think, Kendra?
Well, I think that I've been really proud of the city and really humbled by seeing so many step up during this time where we're all facing disruptions to our daily lives. And like Marianne said, it's a tough time mentally for everyone to go through more isolation than we're used to, and less socializing. It just makes things harder than when you have your friends and family close by and you can chat with them and work things through. So I like, for me, I kind of think, what are the immediate ways that, or the immediate needs that have arisen because of these daily changes? So I think of some organizations that are helping kids who maybe need help with activities, or with maybe they were getting breakfast and lunch at school and they no longer have as easy access to those resources because the schools are closed. So I think we have some truly incredible nonprofits in the area that are really helping with children in this time, and also just providing a sense of normalcy and making sure that kids know they're cared for. So I think that's a great area to get in touch with. Nonprofits like Loop It Up that are helping kids with art materials and activities to do.
I actually donated my children's book to them so that they could give it out for free. I love, Loop It Up. That Bill the Long Necked Dragon book, Marianne. Yeah. So I'd send it over to them so they could print it out and give it to the kids because it's a coloring book. I was like, I agree. I mean, like, kids are, they got ripped out of school, because of everything, and their whole daily routine was just thrown upside down, just like everybody else's. And kids are so adaptable, though. I think kids are a little bit better sometimes than adults are to making change and adapting to things.
Totally agree.
Hey everybody, you're listening to WRUU-LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. I completely agree with y'all on that. I think it's there's so much need out there, and for me, I feel like, so I've always loved the Ronald McDonald House and what they've done. And I just decided, like, okay, this is going to be our charity of choice with all of the author events and things like that I do. And it was just like, okay, because I love what they do for the families. I love what they do for the community. Bill Sarchak, he's a friend of mine. I met him actually because of writing for the newspaper. And we just hit it off. And, we became friends, and I love what they're doing. And so for me, I try to help other people. A lot of the ways that I help other people is using my voice and my platform. So people will send me stuff and they'll say, hey, do you mind sharing this? Do you mind, helping me get a little bit exposure or whatever? And I'll share it. I'll pass it on. If I feel like it's responsible and it's a good thing, like, and I can put my name on it and say, yes, I believe in this, I will do it. I try to use my platform, to help other people, like using the radio show and, things like that. And I feel like that is an important thing to do, but it can be very overwhelming sometimes, so like, I'm just kind of imagining here, like some folks that they're like, they want to get behind a charity. They want to get behind some kind of organization, but there are like a million different things out there to pick from. What do you say for that? Like where can somebody kind of get started with saying, hey, especially like a company that, with, I'm kind of thinking like business here, right? Going back to the good cause marketing, how can they get started? Because it can be kind of daunting. It's like, oh man, there's so many different things. How can I get started?
Right. So I think it's that soul searching. If there's something maybe a business owner has gone through in their life, that there's a cause that they can support that is meaningful for them in that way. Like you mentioned, the donor for Memorial, whose husband had gone through illness. If there's another issue that's important, be it education or mental health or so many different aspects. If it's a particular medical area or area of research that maybe their family has been touched by a certain illness that they want to advocate for. So I think it's really starting there and being introspective and figuring out, is there something that is important to me that in a responsible organization in my area that's putting time and dollars into research or programs or advocacy in that area. Is their team helpful to work with? Is it a team that if if I reach out to them and want to help beyond just a monetary donation, are there volunteer opportunities? Are they reachable? Is this going to be an ongoing partnership and that will evolve over time and grow? So sort of looking for that underlying cause that matters, that passion to support that cause, and then being strategic about it and thinking, okay, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, if my business is still working with this group on these issues, where do I see this going? And is this a team I can see myself collaborating with and working with and supporting for that long?
I agree.
And
I think those are good
doing the
points.
research too. I think once you have kind of nailed down, I mean, Google is everybody's best friend. So put in those keywords, and once you find those nonprofits, research them, call them. Will they talk to you? Get a feel for it, because you don't want to just jump on a bandwagon. Look at their social media, look at who they've thanked, look at your, the commonality of the friends who like them, who have said things about them. Look at their reviews, the public data, their 501c3, make sure that it's legit and up to date, and figure out, I think, do you want to support, like United Way does amazing things in our community, and they help, I think, 54 different organizations. Do you want to take that route? And then you can also earmark in United Way, when you donate to them, to certain nonprofits. Do you want to go directly to a smaller nonprofit? Think about all of those things that are important, but do your research and do your homework, so that, like Kendra said, a year down the road, you feel like you've either just written all these checks, or I guess people don't write checks anymore. I'm not really sure.
The same difference. Yeah, and I get what you mean.
Given all this money, or your time, and you feel, undervalued, and a lot of it, what you put in is what you're going to get out. So I think going into that is what do you want to get out of it? And figure that out and build those relationships. But I would never go into it blindly.
Help me understand
goal or expectation.
Help me understand, like, with the services that y'all offer. So let's just pretend like I'm the client coming in, and I've got my business, and I want to, I want to get involved in the community.
Sure.
What are the services that you help those people with? I mean, like, what are the kind of things that they can expect, with the good cause marketing? Because I think that's all the points that you made about getting involved with volunteering or donations or charitable works, that kind of thing. I think those are all valid and, like, definitely, on the pulse. What are the kind of things, with the client services that, you can work with your clients on how they can do those kind of things that we just talked about?
So really, I mean, it's all marketing services, but we essentially go in and interview the client just as much as they're interviewing us. So we want to know where they're at with all of their branding, what they do currently with their marketing, what are their goals if they happen to know them, or we ask them specific questions to kind of, gauge it ourselves if they don't really have a clue.
Yeah.
And then we go in and we look at every possible marketing channel. Okay, this is what you've done in the past. This is what you got out of it, or, you've never tried these certain things. So we look at their social media, we look at their advertising, we look at all of those things. And then we talk to them and figure out where they want to be involved a little bit more.
Okay.
And then we will come up with our suggestion, whether they need a full-on marketing plan. We can do that and just kind of guide them and consult them, or we can actually give them the ideas and physically implement what they decide that they want to move forth with.
So you can do the consulting side of it, where they're just kind of like, they want some ideas, and you can kind of help them with that, and then they take those ideas and they implement themselves. Or you can also do like a marketing and advertising package for them to help them with, the whole thing. Like you pretty much manage that for them. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and we also offer community relations services, and again, not so much now,
Uh-huh.
but like the business networking, really helping them find the organizations that are going to benefit them.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like you just want to join all these organizations just to spend money and join
I
them,
know, right?
but
Because there's a
you
million
gotta
of
have,
them.
yeah, so you
Yeah.
really got to figure out what's going to work for your business. Do you have the manpower to attend and be involved and to make these connections? Or, a lot of times I act as kind of that third party where I'm able to help build those relationships.
Yeah, you're a
Um,
people connector for sure.
I love
Yeah,
people
me too. Yeah.
and hugs. I love all the hugs
Yeah,
I
me
can
too.
get, but it's fine.
I remember. Oh,
um,
it's so funny. I remember when I came. Y'all were doing an event over at the gingerbread house one day,
mhm.
and you and Scott were there, and Scott was like, "I need you to man the ice cream station," and I was like, "No problem." And it was so fun. I mean, like to me, it was like I was just volunteering a couple hours, time, whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was just so much fun because the way that you put on events, it's always nice. They're friendly. It doesn't feel forced with
right.
the way that you run your events and that kind of thing. And I think that is a great thing that you can offer to, because if you're in the everyday grind and you don't know about the meetings that are going on, or you don't know about the organizations or the events or whatever, it does help a lot when you have somebody like yourself and like Kendra, when you can say, hey, you know what, you like I don't know, you like purple flower gardening.
Right.
We have a purple flower gardening group that does this
Yeah.
on the third Tuesday of the month. you know
Right. It's daunting to keep up with it. And
Yeah.
that is part of, again, not taking away from good cause marketing, but a Savannah Master Calendar, having every one of those. And now people can enter all of their own events as long
Hmm.
as it's community related, nonprofit, something good, it can go on there and people can find it. And I can't scream that loud enough, like there's people moving here every day, or people that have lived here their entire life that don't have a clue all the other things that
Right.
are offered in Savannah. But
Yeah, because the little local papers like the Do and the Connect, I mean, there's only so much copy space.
right.
They try to get as many of the events as they can. But that's just one of the things. There are always so many different things going on. So
Hmm. Well, and
usually
I think,
usually.
yeah, usually, not now, but usually. Kendra and I think, really pride ourselves. I mean, our events, always being inclusive. I never want anyone to feel, that they've left and they feel like they didn't have a good time, or they weren't included, or didn't meet somebody. I mean, that's the goal of it, right? We all want to be
Hmm.
successful and expand our networks, even if you don't really like people, you need them. So, how can I make you more comfortable? How can I introduce you to people? It's all about those connections.
And the soft
And
skills, and yeah, it's crazy. We need to take a
yeah,
break real quick. Everybody, you're listening to WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. This is the Adam Messer Show, and I'm your host, Adam Messer, and my special guests today are Marianne Ganem-Poppell and Kendra DeMoura from Good Cause Marketing. We'll be right back.
Savannah Independent Artists and WRUU during this shelter-in-place order to stop the spread of COVID-19. Creatives in Need is a group of independent artists hosted by the Roots Up Gallery, which is collaborating with WRUU during this shelter-in-place to offer an online art gallery at www.rootsupgallery.com. For every work of art sold at this online gallery, the artists receive 80% from the sales, and 20% goes to WRUU and its programs like Art on the Air. Interested listeners can go to www.rootsupgallery.com to start shopping today.
The Live Oak Public Library System offers local residents access to hundreds of thousands of movies, television programs, albums, audiobooks, ebooks, and digital comic books for free on your streaming television and mobile devices through the Hoopla app. Supported devices include Roku, Fire, Apple TV, iPhone, and Android, among others. The selection is vast. All you'll need is your library card. Find the Hoopla app on your device and more information at liveoakpl.org.
WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul.
You are listening.
All right, so we are back, everybody. And we've got probably about another 25 minutes or so. What is going on with y'all on the home front? How's everything been with, trying to juggle everything?
Marianne, I'll let you answer that one first.
Well, I don't think we have enough time. So I have 3 little boys,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really glad school's over and dreading school starting if it doesn't start normal. But it really is going good. I have to say, I joke about it. My husband works for his family business. They have Poppell Brothers Flooring, and they do a lot of work at St. Joe's, Candler, and some other corporate entities. So they have stayed busy. So really for him, nothing has changed. My family has Johnny Ganem, so my mom's schedule, she helps me a great deal, has not changed because, you can't go through a pandemic without your alcohol. So liquor stores stayed open.
Yeah.
And then my grandmother will be 99 in August.
Wow.
So I've struggled.
Wow.
I know.
What's her
I've
birthday?
really struggled with that. August 7th.
Oh, wow. My son and my daughter have their birthdays in August.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's so cool. So I didn't go over there for probably the first 3 weeks when we were going through all this. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. Who knows how long we all have on this earth. And so now I go and see her. And my brother and sister-in-law and their 2 boys drove down from Wisconsin because who wants to get stuck in Wisconsin when you can come to Georgia?
I know, right?
So, yeah.
Beautiful
had 5
Savannah.
little boys, in our house. So I've just been probably shopping online more than I should, creating.
Now, see, that would be if we could come up with a way to do a local online shopping thing for
Yes.
businesses in town. You could order this, but it's so, that would be so daunting, but that would be such a cool thing.
Yeah, I'm there. I call it my non-oasis oasis in the backyard. It's stuffed to the brim. It's almost overdone now, but we have enough entertainment that if I accidentally lock my children in the backyard, they've got plenty to do. It's fine.
Drink out of the water hose, kids.
Yeah, exactly. This is back to the good old days. But
Yeah.
I don't know. My brother and I were talking about it. I think it has forced us to do things that we really kind of lost sight of. And, because we are all so busy on a day-to-day basis.
Mhm.
And, how do you rationalize taking time for yourself when you could be out there? For me, I could be doing something for someone else. I could be helping someone. I don't have time to take care of myself. So
Yeah.
It's actually been very nice for me to slow down, enjoy the time with the family. I went to a girls only pool party yesterday. It never would have gotten put together, had we not all been quarantining properly and just kind of way too much time with our families. It's okay, let's just get away and distance outside but enjoy each other. And so and it's funny, the first couple of weeks a lot of people text and called and were so worried about me because I am a social little animal. But I have thoroughly enjoyed the time.
I think
my
it
stretch more. Yeah.
I think it adds it actually kind of makes, like you said, you have you've had a time to be able to kind of think things through now, Whereas
Yeah.
before you like go, 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 and just kind of just go, 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 go. Now you're like, okay, take a deep breath, take a step back, and when things kind of go
Yeah.
back to normal, it's going to be like you're even better off. You know what I mean?
That's it. It was kind of like, just a not expected, just time to breathe. I mean, would I have opted for it? No, but it's here. It kind of gave us time to rethink how we're, business and personal. So again, not ideal for anyone, but definitely making the best of it. And, like I said, I've talked to people that have been quarantined by themselves and they struggle with that. For me, it sounds like an absolute dream. I'm like a human monkey bar gym thing, people, I'm like, stop touching me, stop crawling on me.
Yeah.
So, everybody has their battles. And I don't know, I'm grateful for mine and to try to get things done. I am a little jealous of everyone that's gotten their honey-do list done, because I have a real long list for my husband. But he's been working, so it just keeps growing.
I've it's kind of weird, but I do electrical work, so I was working, and then I got furloughed for like a month, and then I've been back to work for like the last 3 weeks, and then they gave me a furlough Thursday.
Oh my God.
Then they called me Friday morning and they said, nope, come back on Monday. So I was looking forward to my coronacation, but I'm gonna be going back. So
oh my God.
yeah, so it is. I'm glad though. I mean, like it's strange, but this I've never, like, in my entire life of working full time, I've never had this much time off. And
Right.
yeah, it's crazy. So Kendra, how about you?
Well, I am not very good at just sitting still and taking time for myself.
Okay.
So I'm very productive. I grew up in Massachusetts, so I have that sort of like New England work ethic where we just kind of go, 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 go. But anyway, I've been catching up on projects that have been kind of sitting around the house for the last couple of years since I started working with Marianne, basically, and we sort of have been running ever since. But so it's been what you both mentioned about kind of slowing down a little bit. That's been good. I think, looking for silver linings in all of this. It's obviously not a great situation we are in collectively with the pandemic, but I think personally I needed a little bit more me time. It's been nice to read books again and things like that, that I had neglected a little bit in the last couple of years. So
my to be read list has like grown over, because I have been buying books that I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got so many books that I want to read, and I read every day, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen y'all probably seen this too, but I've seen so many different recommendations for books and movies and music, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's not, my brain's gonna overload here.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, and then all the entertainers that switch to doing online stuff, and and I've been trying to be really supportive of as many people as I can, but there's some days where I'm just like, I have to just kind of tune out, like literally, and I don't know if this is like how y'all are, but some days like I might make a post just talking about something I'm working on, and then I shut social media off. Like I'll just make a post and put it out there, and I'll shut it off, and then like the next day I'll check it and interact with somebody that might have replied or something like that. But I've been trying to just kind of disconnect from things, because there's just so much stuff going on. There's so many different things you can do, and but at the same time it's like we have to kind of look forward to what we can do now, and not just kind of put our lives on hold and say, hey, well, when this gets over with, we have to live today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Make the best of it.
Yeah. So I think it's so cool what y'all are doing. And then I like how you've been able to, because I kind of had to do the same thing, Marianne. Separating, like, so with the Savannah Mess calendar, you separating those things that you were doing and making it into a business with Kendra, with a good cause marketing, I kind of had to do the same thing with the Savannah Quill stuff, doing like the little author meet and greets and the volunteer stuff and all that, because I wanted to, be able to publish books and, sell books, but I didn't want to kind of mix up the two, like, with the charitable stuff. And, so I was like, okay, well, how can I do this? And like for the last year or so, I've been thinking about this problem. Like, okay, the convention that we had, it was really, I liked the venue, but we didn't have a turnout. So last year I partnered with Savannah Coffee Roasters, and we had a better turnout, and it's like right downtown. It was great. They sponsored us. We didn't have to charge the authors. We had a great turnout. But I wanted to be able to separate like the charitable stuff, like the books and brews and, the author events and stuff like that we volunteer to do, from trying to sell books. So,
right.
Yeah, so I did I did my own small publishing imprint called Valhalla Books, so that I could separate the two, and then I wouldn't have to feel, like I was stuck on that teeter-totter with saying, okay, well, we're going to do this Books and Brews event, and I tell the authors, I'm like, yes, you can sell books, but it's not a book selling event. It is a charitable fundraising event that we're doing, and we just happen to be authors, raising money for the Ronald McDonald House.
Right.
And so, but that's, I can totally understand. I mean, like, definitely I'm like on a much, much smaller scale, than what y'all are doing, but, same kind of principle. It's like, I think sometimes companies or businesses or people or individuals or whatever, it's okay to say, okay, well, I don't want to mix, my personal with my business stuff. I might work here and we volunteer at this group, or this organization as a company, but personally, my charity of choice is, XYZ, and this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's kind of cool what y'all are working on, trying to get it out there, and then also making it, a good return for everybody involved.
Right.
It's like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate all that you do in the community and your support for us. It's, it's always scary. Like, I think probably people don't do more so out of fear than anything. And, so it's like, just jump in.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the radio station, for example, this is a community radio station, and there's no advertising. There's no, we don't have sponsorships. We have underwriting sometimes, like the one for, our, in the first hour, it was, what was it? It was for the Gardens Award. I'm sorry. I'm having a brain cramp here, but we have some underwriting, which is not advertising, but it's kind of like advertising. And it's all like, it's all volunteer, the people that are here, there's no paid staff, and we have an operating cost, we have a budget where, we have to pay for the lights and the transmission and the license and those kind of things, and we couldn't do this without our volunteers, and we definitely couldn't do it without, our donors, the people that, they say, hey, I like what you're doing, so I'm going to give you, $5 or $1, or, had a guy, not too long ago that he was like, oh, here, I'm going to just donate $200. I was like, what? Wow. Thank you. That was awesome.
Aww,
yeah.
That's
so
cool.
But I think it takes all levels, and I think one of the biggest things, going back to that, is like a lot of times people don't know where to start, and or they think like they can only give like $1 or a couple of dollars or whatever, and they don't think it's enough, so they don't do it, and they don't realize that like, hey, it might be $1, and you might not feel like it's a lot, but it helps build that momentum, and it helps contribute to what the cause is or what the group is doing.
Right.
Sometimes $1, they think it's, not a big support, but it's not necessarily always the monetary support as it is the, hey, you thought enough about us to try to do something. If that's what you can do and that's what you felt in your heart like you needed to do, and that's where you could do it, hey, I'd rather see somebody give 100% of what they really love and want to do than somebody else who has more means and they're just like, oh, I don't really, I just want to do whatever I can do, but I'm not really doing, what I can do. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think too, we always talk about like have realistic expectations too, because I think some people give on the terms like they're expecting something back.
Right.
I would never give for those reasons.
Right.
Like I think you're dealing with humans, and humans make mistakes, and if they don't thank you the way that you think you need to be thanked properly, I guess it's try not to take those things personally. And that's a tough thing, because when you're just giving because you want to or from the bottom of your heart, it is a tough pill to swallow when you don't get things, or a nonprofit just kind of shrugs their shoulders at you, because when you've done everything that you can, but I think
or like they give the focus to the huge donors. And
Exactly.
I've seen that on some levels, or you'll get like a big name sponsor or something like that, and they get the lion's share of the attention, and and some of the smaller donors really don't. And I'm not saying that the smaller donors, like a $1 donor to $1,000 donor or whatever, even larger than that. To me, it's all like, okay, if you're doing on whatever level you can do, kind of like the little drummer boy story. I give what I can give. I gave, like, some days your 100% is not going to be 100%. It's going to be 50 or 60 or 30 or whatever. But if you're giving 100% of that versus the other person who's given like 20 out of their 100, and like, it's just, I don't know. It kind of goes back to that, how much heart is in it. And I'm not here to judge somebody on that. I don't want to say like, oh, somebody else has more than somebody else. But I just love seeing people who do things out of the kindness and the goodness of their heart, because it's the right thing to do.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. And if there is a company or a person, or a nonprofit, I would encourage them to get in touch with us, send us an email, send us a Facebook or Instagram message, give us a call. We're here to help and guide people.
And to also act as that third party that can sort of help build these successful partnerships and make sure that, both the for-profit business that's entering into corporate giving or a program like this for the first time, and that nonprofit they've selected, that there's clear expectations written out and there's an agreement in place, and that relationship is set up for success and for growth.
I like that, because it kind of gives a little bit more of accountability for everybody.
Exactly.
Hold that thought. Everybody, you're listening to WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. So, we have about 10, well, actually, we actually have about 8 minutes left that we can talk and kind of wrap up this kind of stuff. So, folks can go on to your website, which is that thegoodcausemarketing.com?
That's correct. And if they are interested in getting in touch with us, like Marianne said, they can reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram with a message, or they can email us at hello@goodcausemarketing.com.
And they'll get directly in touch with one of you two, right?
They will be directly in touch with our team. We usually get back to people within 24 hours.
That's cool. And then, like, so normal business hours, right? Like, somebody's message you on a Saturday. It's like, hey, wait a minute, we'll be able to get back in touch with you, Monday, maybe sooner, but don't. If you email today, it'll probably be tomorrow, y'all. So that's one of the things. Like, it's so crazy, but that is one of the strange things that I've encountered. People will message my page sometimes at like an oddball hour. And I'm like, I'm not awake at this time. So I set up the little auto responder thing, but sometimes Facebook doesn't show that to you.
No, I think
Facebook can be a little critical about those times when someone messages you at 2 in the morning.
Oh man, they dinged me on that 100% response time thing. I was like, come on. If I got the autoresponder on, y'all, don't ding me for, somebody sending me a message at 2 o'clock in the morning. I got back to them, the next day. So, like, respond
Yeah.
quicker to earn the badge. I'm like, really? And it's sometimes, it's weird, but sometimes I've had people that are on my Facebook, like my personal Facebook, message like my author page. And so, like, I actually had to set it up so that it says, like, Adam Messer, author, blah, 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 blah. So people could say, okay, well, wait a minute, this is not his personal page. And I'm like, can you please message my personal page instead of messaging my author page?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of those things I think you kind of have to set boundaries, because in the line of work that y'all do, you do get to know people. You get to make a lot of friends, and it's also professional. You have to say, okay, well, hey, I'll get back with you, or, I'll do whatever. Just, common courtesy or professionalism, I think, goes a long way. I want to touch on a story that I saw yesterday to kind of talk about professionalism. There's a lady in town, and she made a Facebook post yesterday talking about some videography services or whatever. And the gentleman, I guess he'd had a bad reputation or something like that, not coming through, but the lady wanted to give him a chance, and he fell through. He didn't come through with, the scheduled time. And she was upset about it. And she made a video post about it. And I think that, that goes back to when you are doing something, if you make that commitment, like you're talking about, writing out, an agreement or something like that with the companies, well, you have that obligation and you've made that commitment. It's so important to follow through with the terms of that agreement. It builds trust. It builds, good relationships with people. And it also, I feel like it gives the other person that acknowledgement, like, yes, I feel like what you're doing is important for me to, to interact with you about it, or to share it, or to whatever. And it's, I don't think it's so much about like getting the thank yous or whatever. I agree with that. Like, I think people, you should do it because you're just being altruistic. But those thank yous go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Being recognized or acknowledged, or, having the person like, and the reason why I'm saying this is because when you're, and anybody out there listening, that if you never did volunteering, I can tell you this much from my own personal experience, having hosted events and, gathered volunteers up. If you have 10 people say that they're going to come out, you probably might have 3 or 4 that actually show up. And out of those 3 or 4, you might have one person that's pretty solid and they actually want to do the work while you're there. If you're lucky, you might get all 10 people. But if you're going to volunteer, or if you're going to make a commitment, like talking about with the good cause marketing stuff, if you're going to make a commitment to doing those kind of things, saddle up, do it. Show up, blow up, do what you got to do.
Right.
Don't flake out on the companies or the organizations that are depending on you, for those in-kind services or whatever. Be responsible. And, it goes, I think I really do think like you were talking about karma, I think it goes a long way, and, you get tenfold back of whatever you give out. At least I have. I know every time I've done something, even if the person didn't thank me, I've always received my blessings, for doing good deeds. You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree. Yeah. And I think that, that's what it's about. I mean, everybody has different beliefs, and I believe that we're put on this earth to do good and serve and be kind to others. And everybody does that in a different way, but I do think it will come back to you in a positive way.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we're going to wrap it up, ladies. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Marianne and Kendra. I really appreciate it. One more time, where can people check out all the stuff with Good Cause Marketing, all the good things y'all doing?
So they can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and then at our website, goodcausemarketing.com. And they can send us an email at hello@goodcausemarketing.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show today, ladies.
Thank you. This was great.
Thank you so much for having us. This was awesome.
And just a heads up, everybody. The podcast, if you were just now tuning in and you missed out on all the good stuff we were talking about, you can check that out later on tonight on SavannahMuses.com.